Twitch, we need to make sure that's all up. TV. What up, peoples and folks? It is your boy Goliath. We are doing our Master the Craft class today. Not even class, it's more of a podcast. We will answer some questions if we have any questions from our live audience, as well as go over some things that I wanted to talk about today. So today is going to be all about music and audio, and if you're into that kind of stuff, there should be some great information on here for you. But we're going to go ahead and let's just get back to our thing. Boom, hit our thing. Oh, we need to brighten our video. That's what we need to do. That is what we are on right now. Let's go ahead and brighten our video up. All right, there we go. Beautiful. And I'm going to want to add us a screen share so you guys can see what I see on the screen. And for some reason, Facebook is not updating the shot, so we'll have to see what's going on with that in a little bit. All right, so we are streaming here. All right. Looks like Facebook finally caught up with us. Good job, Facebook. If you're joining me on Facebook or you are joining me on any of the other channels, I would love for you to follow me on TikTok so I can start going live before they start banning it. You know how that is. If that's ever going to be a thing. I know they keep saying it is, but we'll see. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm just setting up my video source so you guys will be able to see my screen. How is everybody doing today? I hope y'all are doing great. Join the discussion by either following me on, or we'll just keep it on any of them. I've got all 3 of them up, and I'll read the questions as they come up. Sound good? Sound good. I like it, guys. All right, so let's capture our Panasonic TV there. Boom, show cursor, and all right, we're gonna press OK. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We're gonna add another screen. Video capture device, adding existing the ATEM and press OK. And we're just going to throw this in the corner along with, let's go ahead and settings. Oops, press OK on that. Let's, I want to edit the transform. That's what I want to do. And to edit this transform right now, let's go ahead and give me a crop right of 100. Beautiful. Close, and we can transition to that. Yay! All right, so you're new to music, don't really know what you're gonna get into. You're always liked music, and you just want to be part of it in some way. Well, there are a number of different areas you can get involved. You can be a producer, you can be an engineer, you could be a singer, a rapper, a songwriter. You don't even got to perform the song, you just write the song. There's just a number of different things. I'm going to approach it from my standpoint as a producer. I'm going to show you some of the tools and some of the things that you use while you want to start doing this. We'll get a little bit more advanced as we get into further episodes, but today's episode is going to be all about just the beginning of things and what you should think about going forward. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up our screen here and kind of talk about what programs I like to use. All right. So as you can see down here, we've got a number of different programs. It's beautiful. Let's get to the music programs. So we have GarageBand. If you have a Mac, you automatically get GarageBand. So a lot of people start with that. Some people use BandLab. I believe that's what it's called, BandLab or Studio One. But, you know, say you're just starting out and GarageBand is all you have. Well, that is definitely a good one to use. And it's pretty much Logic stripped down. Okay. And then the next thing I got here is the machine. So the machine actually comes with its own hardware as well as software. So I usually use the machine pretty much in pre-production. Give me a second here. And so pre-production, is really talking about before I'm really laying out the idea. I'm just really kind of getting the idea of what I want to the song to sound like. Songs can come from anywhere. You can get inspiration from anything. People get inspiration from the sound of a bus driving by, or the song that a bird sings. I mean, it's really just, it can come from anywhere. So you just want to make sure that you're looking at that, and getting inspiration from whatever you draw inspiration from, and that will help you kind of decide where you're going with it. All right, so Machine is great. Then you have Logic Pro and Pro Tools. So to me, these are the top tier audio programs that you're going to use. Whether you go to a professional studio or you go to a home studio, you're most likely going to see one of these two. People do use Fruity Loops. People do use other programs out there. There are tons of programs out there that you can use. These are just the ones that were in the game first and kind of had a head start in the software and the technology of home recording. Okay, so back before these came out, you really had to go to pay a studio a lot of money, get behind and record the tape, and have an engineer that really understood what it meant to have gain structure and outboard gear and how to turn all the knobs and everything. It's really simple if you think about it in a certain way, but before home recording, that's what you had to do. You had to pay a studio, go into a studio, and deal with an engineer that knew how to handle the equipment. Nowadays, we got it all in the box, which is wonderful. I've got the Focusrite control, so that's something we're going to talk about, some of the components that you will need. There, again, every system is set up kind of differently. Even as an engineer working in multiple different studios, I know that every system is set up differently. There's not one system. Even if you've got a G Plus 4000 sitting in front of you, that G Plus 4000 is going to be configured differently than the next G Plus 4000 that you sit behind. I know that because you have your patch bays. You have people that have a way of setting their equipment up for a certain signal flow that they may like. And so these are just the things that, come with the setup. The stuff that I have, I say all that to say that the stuff that I have is not the end all say all. There are definitely other options out there. Do your research, decide what works best for you. I say go play at Guitar Center. Ask them to hear different interfaces with certain microphones and different microphones with certain preamps. And there's so much into this that we're not necessarily going to be able to cover it all in the hour. But we're going to do our best. So, all right. It's the Focusrite, and then iLok is something that manages my licenses for all my plugins that I have. So we're going to keep it simple today. We're just going to do a couple beats. We're going to show you some different time signatures. I'm going to go over what you should get, and that's really the next part of this that I want to talk about is the gear, right? So let's talk about the gear. Give me a second. Stay hydrated, guys. Stay hydrated. All right, so the gear, let's look at the gear. Let's go ahead and transition over to the back camera here, if the back camera will give it to me. All right, there's OBS. All right, let's find out what's going on with my back camera. Do apologize. Most of this was already set up, but for some reason, oh yeah, I reinstalled because we had our 3day OBS boot camp, which was wonderful. I do thank you for all those who came and participated in that. It was amazing. And so my system's all set up a little bit backwards right now. So back camera is what I need. I'm gonna press OK. I'm gonna add a video source. Video capture device. I'm going to call this Elgato. I'm going to press OK. And we're going to use the Elgato. I'm going to press OK. And now you'll be able to see some things here. Now you may not be able to see them right away, very close, but hey, I'm trying my best to show you. In fact, let me just grab that camera and then we'll reset it up there. Bing. Yes. Alright, so for those of you that know me, I drink Pepsi. Pepsi is huge for me. So don't mind all the Pepsi cans, okay, guys? Alright, so I'm just gonna get rid of some of them here, so you don't judge me. Don't judge me. Alright, so this right here, let's go ahead and transition to this camera. Alright, so there we go. So this right here is my Focusrite. It is an audio interface. It's something that you're going to want to look into getting. The audio interface itself is very important. It's how you get sound into your computer or into your DAW. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. So don't get confused or worried about some of the nomenclature. It is definitely easy to figure it out once you get started. And my blank. I do not suggest using Elgato. I'm going to be looking for a new solution pretty soon because it keeps dropping out, so I'm not sure why it does that, but that's okay. So this is my audio interface. They come in all different shapes and sizes. There's an Apollo, there's just a bunch of different ones. I'm not going to try to name them all. I like Focusrite. It's what I've been using, especially here at the home studio. Definitely what I think works best for me. Those are KRK5s at the home studio. So you can see here, those are what I have. I have two KRK5s that I use for monitoring. Really when I'm just making music and I don't want to have the headphones on. I do have the headphones that I'm currently wearing on my head, and we'll show you those by just going to them real quickly. Transition over here. And so these are the Behringer or Beyerdynamic DT990s, right? DT990s. Yes, the DT990 Pros, definitely one of the best ones that I've used for mixing. I do not suggest them for recording because they are open back. So if you see here, they have an open back to them, and that's what you want for mixing. I love them because these things are comfortable. Definitely a great purchase if you're going to be mixing in headphones. I don't do a lot of recording at the house, so therefore I don't really worry about that too much. The next thing you have, if you're making beats, and that's what we're primarily going to talk about today. I'm not going to talk about recording too much. I just want to talk about the making the beats part of it. But what you're going to want if you're making beats is something to make beats on. So this is a drum machine, pretty much sampler. It's the machine. It's what it's called. It's created by, I want to say Native Instruments. That's right, Native Instruments. So that is a great thing to have. I love using it. And then you can also get a keyboard if that's your thing. I've got an M-Audio keyboard, Keystation 61. They come in all different shapes and sizes as well. So again, just different things that you may want to have. If you're going to record vocals, guess what? You're going to need a microphone, and that microphone will be plugged into your audio interface, which will then go into your DAW. Again, we're not going to cover that too much today, but this is the microphone I have here at the house. It's just a blue microphone. I believe it's the Spark, if I remember correctly. This is the Spark right now. And then if you want to play the drums, yes, you can have drums. As you can see, I also have a bass and guitar in the back. Again, don't judge me about the Pepsis. Oh, wait, you guys didn't see any of that, did you? All right, let's go back over here and show you the machine. So there's the machine. This is going to be where I, load drum sounds and even different types of sounds because I use the machine software with Kontakt, and we're gonna go into that in the DAW once we get in there. And then here is the keyboard, the M-Audio Keystation 61 key keyboard. Definitely a nice thing to have. Here is that microphone. That is the blue Spark. Beautiful thing. I do have a Mac Studio right now. I suggest using a Mac if you're going to make beats or you're going to do anything in audio. It's definitely a suggested piece there. And then you've got, like I said, you could have drums if you want them. You could have the guitar and the bass are sitting right there so you can see what that's doing. Definitely some great things there if you're looking into getting into making music or beats. I suggest learning how to play an instrument. I know AI is coming out. I know AI is already here. But let's be serious, guys. We all don't want the computers to take over, so any human touch that you can get with it is a good idea. All right, let me go to put this camera back where it was, and that way you can see what I'm doing when I'm doing it over here. We're gonna do this, and framing this shot. Don't worry, guys. All right, so there's all that. All right, so let's go back to our screen and talk about the DAW. Let's go ahead and open up a DAW. So for this one, I'm going to start with Logic. It is kind of like GarageBand. GarageBand is a little bit more limited in selection. I suggest buying Logic. It's only, I believe, $200 in the App Store for Mac. If you don't do that, I believe Studio One's got a pretty good subscription where you can get a perpetual license as long as you subscribe for a year. There's just a bunch of different DAWs out there. Doesn't really matter what DAW you use, as long as you get to know the DAW. There's arguments, you'll see them all the time. Oh my goodness, which DAW's better? And all, just there's not. The best DAW is the DAW you know. So if you use Fruity Loops and you know Fruity Loops, guess what? Fruity Loops is the best DAW for you. If you use Machine and that's what you know, then the Machine is best for you. If you use Logic, then that's the best one for you. You know what I mean? It just really depends on what you're comfortable with using. So let's open up Logic. Let's do that real quickly here. You'll see it comes with a loading screen. It's going to search for audio unit plugins or AU plugins. AU, VST, VST3, all these different types. I mean, it's good to know them, but the truth is that the DAW is really going to handle it, and installation has become such a thing that we all do regularly that it's not really a big talking point of VST over AU. Really just find out which ones work best for you. I can tell you if you're working in a Windows-based area, you need the VST plugins. Most AU plugins will not. I don't think any AU plugins will work on a Windows-based, but I haven't been on Windows-based in a long time. And then most DAWs except AU VST, there are some DAWs that have proprietary stuff that they use. I think Ableton is one of them. I'm not sure you can use third-party plugins in Ableton. Again, I don't know. Each DAW is different, but these are the ones I use. So we're just going to start with an empty project. Boom. Start recording. All right, I do apologize for that delay there. We did have to a quick turnaround here. Copy. All right, I need to get the stream going on Facebook. Give me a second, and we're back. Bam. All right, we're back up and running. Looks like everybody's going good here. All right, beautiful. There we go. All right, so back to it. Okay, so do apologize for that little glitch there, but that happens when you open Logic. All right, so when you open Logic, you get this little thing here that says create new track. What do you want to do? I'm going to tell you to just start with the software instrument. We're just going to keep it simple and we'll click create. All right, boom. That brings us up with the software instrument. If you've connected everything correctly, I'll do a video about connecting everything and you'll be able to check that out a little bit later. So, but once you connect things through USB, pretty much is what it is, you have sound. Okay. Make sure we don't have overpowering sound. All right. So there we go. So a couple things we're going to talk about. What all this information is in front of us. So over here we have our library sounds. If that's not up, there is a button over here. You just saw me click it. That button right there opens up the library of sounds that you may have. And then this right here is the mixer area for each track that you create. And then this is for help, dialogue, and quick help. As you roll over things, it'll tell you what things are and stuff like that. So then you have your tracks here. So if I create new tracks, if I go to edit new, not select, where is create? Maybe it's just command in. Nope, cancel. Command shift in. Nope, cancel. Let's just right click, command shift A. So over here you can see anytime you open up something, it's going to give you the quick keys. So if I wanted to create an audio track, I could do that. If I wanted to create a new software instrument track, I could do that, and so forth and so on. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this audio track because we don't want that. Boom. And I'm just right clicking to bring this up so that you can see those things. All right. We have our transport, and that's what they call the area where to play and stop and the buttons. If you've ever used a tape recorder, CD player, even Apple Music, they all have some kind of transport on there. And basically this is rewind, fast forward, stop, play, record, and free tempo record. So it basically mutes all content and just allows you to record as you're going with a smart tempo analysis, which is amazing. This is a new feature in Logic. I did not know about that. I'm going to start using that more often. Cycle. This is basically loop. So you can see where this lit up and you can enable the loop. We're actually going to do an 8-bar loop for right now. All right, this is the bar and beat that you're on. So this is going to change as you play through the song, or we scrub through the song, which is what we call when we're moving the playhead. Okay, this would be considered the playhead. And you can go all the way to the front or all the way to the end. With the yellow on, it's going to loop. If I take this off, it'll continue to go forever until I stop it. 120, this is the tempo. So you can change the tempo. Like, we're going to start and actually, let me see. Do we have the click? Here's the click. So you can see as I speed this up, the click gets faster. And as I slow it down, the click gets slower. So the click basically keeps us in time. If I take it back to grade school music theory here real quick, there are beats and measures, okay? That is going to be dependent upon, beats and measures are going to be depending on time signature that you're in. Not going to get too in depth there, but we're going to talk a little bit about that just so you can understand what time signature is. And so you have beats and measures, and how many beats happen per measure or bar. Measure and bar are interchangeable. What up, Crystal? Or Christ statement? I'm messing that whole entire name up. I don't even know how to say your name. I do apologize. But hey, how are you doing? So, as I was saying before, the click there, it'll speed up as you go faster and slower. If you heard, you can hear that the first beat is accented, so it's a little bit louder. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And then all the other beats are lower. So definitely a great thing there to understand. The click is there to keep you in time. And so if I took it back to grade school, each click, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can count to 4, you can keep time. So that is what you want to look at when you're doing these, the tempo of the song. So depending on where you're at is how fast or slow you are going. All right, so these numbers, these 4, 4, and the C major. We're not necessarily going to worry about the C major because you can change this to whatever. It doesn't really matter as you're playing because you can play whatever you want. I am currently in our Master the Craft episode 1, where I am going over how to do things in music, and I'll be going over how to do things with graphic arts and other things in different episodes. But today is our first day in music, so I'm just kind of going over what a DAW is, which is a digital audio workstation. This is something that will be happening every Thursday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Arizona time. So I do thank you for joining in. If you do have any questions, if it's something that you're interested in learning how to do, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Definitely want to make it interactive, but as nobody was in here, just wanted to make sure I was giving the information that I had planned for today. So how long have I been making music? I have been making music for over 20 years now, so I'm a little bit older. But yes, I've been doing it for about 20 years. I had some requests to kind of give some knowledge out about what I do or how to do it for people who don't understand how to do it yet. And so that's what we're going over. Looks like my Twitch, did it pause? Oh, there we go. Okay, now I can see my screen. All right. Wonderful. 1.5, been producing for 1.5. Well, that's good. I mean, I remember the early years. I loved it. Before I knew all this stuff and just figuring things out. It's a lot of fun. So do you play an instrument, or is it just something that you picked up and are using loop basses? I mean, how do you produce music? All right, and while we're waiting for that answer, keep going over this. So 4, 4, 3, 4. You're gonna hear a bunch of these different things: 5, 4, 6, 8, 7, 8, 12, 8. Oh my goodness, what is all this? Well, 4, 4 is basically what music is made in. Dubstep. Is dubstep an instrument? No, it's a style of music. I'm gonna cancel that right now. So dubstep is a style of music. How do you get your instruments into your DAW? Do you grab loops, or do you play them on a keyboard, or do you hit a drum machine? I guess that's what my main question is. Dubstep is a lot of fun, though. Do you like dubstep? So these numbers real quick. 4, 4. It's basically telling you the number of beats in a measure and what those beats take up time-wise. So when we were hearing the click, I'm not going to get too far into theory, guys. Again, there's a lot to learn when it comes to theory. But just so you know, if you're barely starting out, here's what you're looking for. So you hear the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's put our loop back on so we don't go too far. Let's get over here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's because we are in 4, 4. But if I change this to 3, 4, change project signature. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So, splice loops. All right, so for those of you who don't know what splice loops are, they are a set of loops that you can use to make music. Splice is a great company. I think they even have their own DAW that you can use if you don't have a DAW. They have one that you can use too. But so you basically put pieces of loops together that sound good and build tracks that way. And see, so I'm gonna figure out how to say that name. It looks like Crystal, but I bet you that's not what it is. Tri-State Mall. I think that's what the username is on here. But they basically said, I am not very creative, so I usually build off of splice loops or serum presets. But I do make sure to play around with them so it's somewhat original. Yeah. Crystal. Okay, Crystal is your nickname. Wonderful. I mean, that's what I kind of see right there. I don't the other T and is throwing me off. I guess that's what it was. Oh, is that an R before the N too? I don't see. My sight isn't as good as it used to be. Okay, so yeah, so they, she, I'm assuming she. You go by Crystal. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't know your pronouns yet. We haven't got that far into our conversation with each other. But so she uses loops and Serum presets. So presets and Serum, it basically kind of creates the song for you, and like she said, you can go ahead and tweak them so that it sounds original, or you can cut them up and do different things. Hey, I got my pronouns right. Wonderful. Look at that. I'm 1 for 1 today. It's beautiful. So, great way of creating music. Definitely look into it. If you don't know how to play an instrument, it's a way for you to get ideas out. And if you want more information on that, maybe I'll do a splice kind of tutorial coming up in some of the other episodes. So, so yeah, so even in Splice, you're gonna have 4/4 or 3/4 timings. You might have 6/8, which is a little bit different. I'll bring that up too. But as you saw when we were in 4/4, it's going to keep asking me if I want to change this or change the project signature. I'm gonna say project signature every time. So 4/4, we had the click. It just goes ding, 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 and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you can hear the accent on 1, right? Now, if I go to 3/4, it's going to do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's going to go to 3. It's only going to go to 3. So 1, 2, accent on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and you can see Logic is counting that here. So when you think of 3/4, I think of a waltz. So you got boom, clap, clap, boom, clap, clap, boom, clap, clap, right? And the boom is a kick, and the clack is a snare or a clap or whatever you want to do. 5/4 is going to be a little bit different too. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so basically what this comes down to is you're looking at the number of beats per measure, okay? The 4 is telling you what note you're actually counting. So, to be as simple as possible, you have different timings for notes. You have a whole note, which will last the whole measure. So, if I were to do a whole note, it would sound something like this. Let's get out of 3/4 real quick. And let's go 4/4. So, whole note consists of 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple whole note. And this is basic. I'm in grade school theory right now. Again, I don't want to get too deep into it. Then you got half notes, which again, half of a measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be 2 beats. 1, 2. Right? So. And that's how half notes work. And then you have quarter notes. Quarter notes are what the 4 stands for in 4/4. The second 4 is quarter notes. And that is what the metronome is. So you're hearing 2, 3, 4, 1. Those are all quarter notes. Simple enough. Eighth notes are going to be twice as fast. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's how you count eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? You can break it down to 16th notes, but for time signature, they do 4s or 8s when they're counting. So basically, it's just telling you what you're counting. The first number is how many. The second number is what you're counting. So in a 6/8, it really is 3/4, but we're counting eighth notes instead of quarter notes, and you're going for 6 instead of 3. So it was 6/8, and this is probably what you do with the 3/3 or 3/4 fills, because it gives it kind of a triplet fill, and the snare is still kind of counting 1 or 4/4, which is a whole nother set of theory that we're not going to get into. I'm trying not to confuse you guys yet if you're starting out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and this is where you'd be boom, boom, boom. So that's kind of how those go. Okay, so very interesting. I would say if you're just starting out, 95% of the music that you're gonna make is going to be in 4/4. When you start to experiment, you may get to the 6/8. What up, Johnny? Sitting on Facebook. Good to see you, man. So if you're doing, just starting out, keep it at 4/4, keep it simple. The clap and or snare goes on the 2 and the 4. You can go into halftime. Again, not trying to get too deep into it. Don't want to confuse you beginners at the beginning here. As we get further in the episodes, I definitely will get further and further into the theory and what that looks like for certain things. So let's go ahead and put something down, just to kind of give you some ideas of what you said. 6/8 going dumb on the MPC. I already know you doing crazy stuff over there. Good things, man. Good things. Oh yes, Crystal. I am multi-streaming on multiple platforms. So I am currently streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch all at the same time using OBS. If you would like to learn how to do that, I do I do a 3-day OBS training about live streaming, on how to multi-stream as well as to stream to different platforms and things you should think about. So if you would like to sign up for that, you can always go to my website, gmtbk.com, and sign up on the form that's in the beginning there. It'll have a little ad. In fact, I'll bring it up so you can see what it looks like here. Selfless plug. Obviously, I'm going to plug myself. gmtbk.com. You'd have to accept this just to enter the site, obviously. So this is the boot camp we just did. If you want more info, click on Get More Info. Type in your information and send it to me, and then I'll send you all the information on how to get signed in so you can learn how to multi-stream using OBS. Definitely a great thing if you're into creating content, something that you want to do. You're going to see what I cook up, huh? Okay. I'm not going to get too deep. I'm just telling you right now, this is a beginning, episode 1. We just starting out, so I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, but we're going to do some crazy stuff, all right? So, as I was saying, learn how to play an instrument. I'm going to just do something real quickly so we can kind of get an idea of where the drums fall for this kind of thing. All right, so let's go ahead and record. So first thing, when you press record, you saw it gave me a bar to kind of get ready. So here we go. Let's go to, all right, yeah. All right, so we had the, we're not even gonna do that. There we go. And you see it loop. I like to quantize to 16th. We'll talk about quantizing again a little bit later, but you definitely want to quantize. Some people can play offbeat and it sound good, but right, Johnny says that's fine. I ain't learned from you before. We definitely have hung out in the studio a couple times. All right, so we're at 122. I'm going to keep it on the 2 and 4. We're actually going to change this out instead of it being that. Let's just get us some drums. do that and go here. So we come here, we can just pick a drum kit. I'm not getting crazy. So you hear the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna put the snare on 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And like I said, you want to quantize. I definitely don't have perfect timing. Go to 16th notes on that, 16th notes on that. Now the one thing I will say, this makes it better for your engineer, separate everything, okay? Separate everything. Don't play your kick and snare and the hi-hat all in the same. You can, and then you have to separate the MIDI. I don't like doing it that way. I'll just go ahead and, duplicate this track, which I don't duplicate there. All right, we're just gonna create a new one. New software instrument, Command Shift S. Remember that, Command Shift S. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna add the kick. So simple. Again, not gonna get too crazy. We'll just do some kicks. Do what feels right. Nice. Then we'll do the hi-hats. And this is really how simple it is. I mean, your creativity is going to be you. I'm not here to teach you to be me. I want you to be you, but this is how you get sounds into the computer so that you can start having something to affect and change, and someone can write to or do whatever the case may be. So So it really is that simple. Adding sounds, you go add we can add, let me quantize 16 notes. There's got to be a way to. So Johnny says, I would separate every track to make it easier to mix, but MPC Beats only lets you make 8 tracks total, so you got to make what I want in 8 tracks or less. So that is a great point. The different DAWs, different setups, different things may have you have certain limitations, so you may have to work within those limitations. I remember when I first started out, I was on an 01W. I only had 16 tracks. That's it. So I put all my drums on one track because I didn't know how many instruments I was going to add to it. I used to overproduce those, so I used to always just keep adding stuff. I'd add a synth, and then I'd add a lead, and then I'd add dots or a kalimba, or just, and adding too much. So definitely a lot of different things there. Crystal says the small amount of time I've been in the stream, I've already learned more than paid courses have taught me. Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that, Crystal. Definitely a lot of things. I'm going to be trying to give as much information as I can. I've been doing this a long time, so I got a lot of information in my head. I do want to put the caveat that my way is not the only way. There are different ways to do this. There are definitely different things, different processes, and different. You're going to find your own vibe. I'm trying to get you to understand the technical aspects of it so that you can create what you hear in your head. What I hear in my head may be completely different than what you hear in your head. May be completely different than what Johnny hears in his head. So that's the great thing about being a human element. I will get into AI, not today, but we are going to get into AI on one of these episodes because Logic just came out with new AI features. If you haven't uploaded or got the new Logic and you're still working off the old Logic, I suggest getting the new Logic because it's got a lot of great features, including stem separation. So I can separate stems, and we'll get into what stems are later, but there is a lot to it. So let's add a bass. We need a bass line. We need a bass line. We can't just have this by itself. So you can see all the different instruments you have here in Logic. If you do something like Machine, it's going to give you a whole bunch of different ones as well. Let me go to Roots Upright. Rock Legend. Maybe a Crunchy Pop. Alright, I like that. These are all stock sounds, so they're not going to sound amazing. If you're going to do this, side chaining. So Crystal says, since we're adding the bass now, would be a good time to introduce side chaining. I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree at the same time because I'm not going over mix yet. Mixing is a whole can of worms that I will definitely be getting into. But side chaining is basically tying the kick and the bass together. So you got a lot of low end information there. So you may want the kick to punch in first and then the bass kind of fill in the lower end. So to get that to happen, you're going to want to dip the bass down and come up with compression, which is side chaining the compressor to the kick. Whole different can of worms there. Again, because I'm trying to be so beginning episode 1, I've got a couple new people who are looking to watch this and kind of understand how to get started. We're not going to go too deep into side chaining today, but that is kind of what she's talking about with side chaining. Yeah, it definitely counts as a mixing thing, but it is something that producers do consider while they're making the beat as well. So definitely a lot of things. Johnny says, I use Serato for the stems, but I heard they introduced it on FL2. Now I'm just now learning about the Logic. Got to see how I can do the stems on there. Man, hey Kim, welcome Kim. Kim says she's newbie right here. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, Kim. Don't get lost in the sauce. Trust me. So you bring up a good how to do the stems on Logic. Stems on Logic is such a great. And Crystal says she's an FL user. I'll be getting into FL actually in 2 episodes. I'm learning a little bit more about FL because I don't use it as much, but I did purchase it. And once I get a handle on it, in about 2 episodes, I'm going to be going over FL Studios as well. So yeah, definitely a great thing. So side chaining, yeah, it's more of a mixed thing, but producers do it. So the more you learn about the things that are out there, if you can learn a little bit about engineering, learn a little bit about songwriting, it's just going to make you a better producer. So making beats is one thing, but then understanding sound selection and understanding how to leave room for the vocal because they may be writing, all that stuff is definitely interesting to know so that you can be a better producer. Like I said earlier, I overproduced at the beginning of my career. Definitely did. And it was something I had to learn, that I had to leave space for a vocal to kind of do it. And learning that is key. So I think that you don't just stop learning just because you learned how to make beats. You got to learn the other aspects of making music, mixing, mastering, all that comes into play when you try to do, professional sounding. I'll say professional sounding. But when you want it to be mainstream music, you got to kind of learn these things to make it sound mainstream. You're going to have to learn what mastering really is. You're going to have to learn what mixing is. You're going to have to learn how to dip and what mid-side chain or mid-side is, and stereo imaging and subbing down to mono. And I mean, there's just so much when it comes to making music that's out there. This is episode 1, so I can't really get into all of it. People spend years learning how to do this stuff. So and you asked me earlier how long I've been doing it, 20 plus years. I've spent that 20 plus years learning, and I'm still learning today. That's the truth. I'm still learning today. So to answer to Johnny's point about stems, let me just import a song here. The great thing about Logic, it's so simple. So simple. Let's go downloads. No, let's not do that. Let's go to here. And okay. And while I'm looking this up, it might be a good time to say, hey guys, this is file management is huge. So knowing where you put stuff and where it is on your drive is very important. You don't know how many times I have to go searching for things and I can't find it because I forget where I put it. So I'm just going to grab one of these songs. Let's just grab, which one do we want here? Let's take this Frankie Beverly and Maze song before I let go. So with Logic, you can just drag and drop in here. Whoops, I put it in the wrong place. No, I didn't. This should have worked. Why didn't that work? See, this is the new update. It worked earlier. What's going on here? Let's go quick sampler. Let's not do that. That was terrible. That was the wrong thing. Oh, that's what I gotta do. Okay, so instead of putting it in the track area, you gotta put it on the timeline. That's what I was looking to do. All right, so once you put it on the timeline, if you right click, stem splitter, right there. If it's not sitting right there, you can go down to processing, stem splitter. And when you click stem splitter, look at what it comes up with. All the other stems, your vocals, drums, bass, other. If I just want the vocals, I could click that. But once I click split, boom, 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 it goes ahead and it gives me everything that I need. So I can now mute all this. And now I got the stems. I use this for getting vocals from tracks. So definitely something that you would want to look into. Literally grab, put it in there, right click and do stem splitter, and it'll split everything up for you. It's not perfect, just like any stem separation is not perfect. This is not perfect yet either. They just introduced it this update, so it's definitely something to look into. If you're doing things like I am now setting up an R&B night for a band to play, and we're stealing all the vocals through this way. I'm going to be doing some cleanup on them as well. But just some things to think about. If you want to steal someone's vocal and make a beat around it, this is the way to do that. Great things are coming up. Again, with AI, there's so much going on. I haven't really got into the AI stuff in Logic that they just released, but they did release new AI aspects to Logic so that you can create, if you don't know how to make beats or you don't know how to play an instrument, then you can say, I want a guitar track that follows my chord structure because I only play piano. I don't say I personally don't think it's a good idea to make your whole entire song with AI, but to each their own. So definitely want some human contact on that as well. But guys, we're getting close to the time. I do have a couple other things I got to do. We will be doing this every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. I may actually look at extending it for another hour to give 2 hours on the podcast if they become a little bit more popular, so I can get more information out. But today we really went over how to get into a DAW. We got into Logic today. I may get into Pro Tools and Machine on different days and go over everything. But I definitely thank you for joining and hanging out with me. Definitely look forward to the next one. And if you do have any questions, I am on all social media at Goliath MTBK. That stands for Make the Beat Knock, for those of you wondering what it stands for. And you can definitely hit me up on all of that social media, as well as Gmail, GoliathMTBK at Gmail. If you want to sign up for the 3-day broadcast or live broadcasting with OBS, definitely go to the site, gmtbk.com. G is in golf, M is in Mike, T is in Tom, B is in boy, K is in kite, .com, and sign up there, and we'll be having that again. It's actually going to be next month at the beginning of the month. So looking forward to it. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. That is my time, and you guys have a great one.